say we don't love each other in South Carolina because y'all are squeezed in here really good. We love it. You know, I can tell you we were in Iowa and the wind chill was -40. And we had a good time, and then we went to New Hampshire, and it was like 7 degrees. But the people in New Hampshire were really good to us. But let me tell you, when we got off the plane this morning, it's a great day in South Carolina. You know, we started this race. There were 14 people in the race. We had 2% in the polls, and we worked our way up. So we ended up in Iowa with 20 points. We came to New Hampshire, and we had 40-something points. And so we were very excited last night because we saw that we had gone up 25 points in a month, and we were thrilled. So we got out there, and we did our thing, and we said what we had to say, and then Donald Trump got out there and just threw a temper tantrum. He pitched a fit. He was insulting. He was doing what he does, but I know that's what he does when he's insecure. I know that's what he does when he is threatened, and he should feel threatened, without a doubt. You know, it's interesting because a few days ago, he was going on and on about me. I mean, for a while. On and on about why I didn't send in security to the Capitol on January 6th. He said it over and over and over and over again. I mean, somebody's got to tell him I wasn't there on January 6th. I've never been at the Capitol working in a job like that, but I think he was a bit confused, and so we'll let that pass. But the thing is, you look at what's happening. And out of everything that he said in his rant, he didn't talk about the American people once. He talked about revenge. He didn't talk about the fact that we've got an economy in shambles and an inflation that's out of control. He didn't talk about the fact that we only have 31% of 8th graders in our country who are proficient in reading. He didn't talk about what we were going to do to get the lawlessness on the border under control. He didn't talk about what we were going to do to bring law and order back to our country. He didn't talk about what he was going to do to help all the wars that we're in and to keep us from going to war. He didn't talk about any of that. And so he'll go on, and you know, even on that day where he was going on and on about January 6th, you know, we talked about, okay, he was having a moment, he was confused, but it also goes back to why I've continued to push for mental competency tests for anyone over the age of 75. And so he got upset, and he said that he would take one and he'd challenge me to one and that he would beat me. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But what I said is, okay, well, if that's the case, then get on a debate stage and let's go. Bring it, Donald. Show me what you got. You know, it's great to be here back in South Carolina, and we've been through so much together. I mean, you go back and you look at all the fights that we've had and all the things we've done to better South Carolina. It makes me so proud. The first thing I think about is what happened when we saw a lot of legislators voting by voice vote. What did we do when we were here in South Carolina? We said we weren't going to have them vote by voice vote. We made them start showing their votes on the record for every one of you to see. We passed laws that made them show you how they made their income and disclose all the money that they had so that you could see that. We said if you have to show picture ID to buy Sudafed, if you have to show picture ID to get on a plane, you should have to show picture ID to protect the integrity of the election process. We passed voter ID in South Carolina. We went on and passed the toughest illegal immigration law in the country. President Obama sued us and we won. We said no to Guantanamo Bay prisoners. We said no to Syrian refugees. We passed tort reform. We did pension reform. We cut taxes. We paid down our debt. And South Carolina was proud. We started building planes with Boeing. We build more BMWs than any place in the world. We brought in Mercedes-Benz. We brought in Volvo. 5 international tire companies, and yes, they were referring to us as the beast of the Southeast, which I still love. We brought that 11% down to 4%. We were union busters and said, don't come into this state. We went a step further and we said that we were going to start making South Carolina work again. We opened up industry. We opened up business. We started getting our kids back on track. There were so many things that we did together. And when you think about all that, just think about if we can translate over. We didn't just do those things that you typically do. We did some other things that were really special. We moved 35,000 people from welfare to work. We put reforms in our prison system, and South Carolina now has the lowest recidivism in the country. But South Carolina has grown, and I've continued to be proud. And now you look at the country, and it's tough. You don't have to turn on the news to know how tough it is. We are $34 trillion in debt. We're having to borrow money just to make our interest payments. China owns some of that debt. Now, I would love to tell you that Biden did that to us. And he sent us down this roller coaster of socialism that's dangerous, that we have to stop. But I've always spoken to you in hard truth. And I'm going to do that with you today. All Republicans did that to us too. You go back and look at that $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill that they passed with no accountability. They expanded welfare that's now left us with 80 million Americans on Medicaid, 42 million Americans on food stamps. That's a third of our country. And did Republicans try and make it right? No. They doubled down and opened up earmarks for the first time in 10 years, passing through 7,000 of them last December. Want to know how they spent your money? $30 million on an honors college in Vermont. $10 million to tear down a hotel in Alaska, $7.5 million on a courthouse in Colorado, and the list goes on. In the 2024 appropriations budget, Republicans put in $7.4 billion worth of pet projects and earmarks. Democrats put in $2.8 billion. Now you tell me who the big spenders are. All while 1 in 6 American families can't pay their utility bill. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 50% of American families can't afford. Homelessness is up. So how do we fix our economy? The first thing we do is let's claw back the over $100 billion of unspent COVID dollars that are still sitting out there. Instead of 87,000 IRS agents going after middle America, let's go after the hundreds of billions of dollars of COVID fraud. 1 out of every $7 was spent fraudulently. If 8% of our budget is interest, quit borrowing. Cut up the credit cards. You have to balance a budget every day. I had to balance a budget as governor. Why is Congress the only group that refuses to balance a budget? We'll stop the spending, we'll stop the borrowing, we'll eliminate the pet projects and earmarks, and I will veto any spending bill that doesn't take us back to pre-COVID levels. That will save us trillions. And then we're going to reduce the size of the federal government. We're going to take as many federal programs as we can and send them down to the state level. Think education, think healthcare, think welfare, think mental health. If we were to take those resources, cut the strings, and send them down to the states, those resources are better used when the people are involved in how they're functioning. And then we need to open up the middle class. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to eliminate the federal gas and diesel tax in this country. We're going to cut taxes on the middle class and simplify the brackets. And then we're going to make the small business tax cuts permanent. They made the corporate tax cuts permanent. They took care of the corporations, but they didn't take care of the small businesses. When we make those permanent, that is showing what I have always believed. Small businesses are the heartbeat of our economy. We need to start acting like it. And when it comes to education, we knew in South Carolina if a child couldn't read by 3rd grade, they were 4 times less likely to graduate high school. So instead of pushing them forward, we started holding them back. We brought in their parents. We did reading remediation, and we set them up for success. We have got to do that all over our country. Only 31% of 8th graders are proficient in reading. We've got to get our kids reading again. And then we need to make sure that no parent should ever wonder what's being said or taught to their child in the classroom. We need complete transparency in the classroom. We will put every curriculum online for every parent to see. And that goes back to the fact that parents have one job. And that's to make sure we do right by our parents. That's why every parent should be able to decide which mode of education or which school their child goes to. Every child deserves a good education regardless of where they're born and raised. Stop mandating them based on a zip code. And then let's start building things across the country like we do in South Carolina by putting vocational classes back in the high schools. And as a point of personal privilege, to all you girl dads out there and all you strong moms, we have to raise strong girls. Strong girls become strong women. Strong women become strong leaders. And none of that happens if you have biological boys playing in girls' sports. We've got to cut that out.